Welcome to my podcast, From Chaos to Peace with Conny. I am Conny Graf and your host, and I will explore with you how a few minutes a day can keep the chaos away. And with chaos, we're talking about the physical, digital, social, financial, mental, emotional, and spiritual clutter that can accumulate in our life and business. In every episode, I want to make you aware how clutter is so much more than you think, how it affects your finances, and how clearing your clutter leads to more time, more money, and more peace. Let's go. Well, hello, my friend. Welcome to the podcast. I am Conny Graf, your host. Thank you so much for allowing me back into your ears. Today, I welcome Mia Frankl as a guest. Mia is a teacher and healer and helps clients who are just starting out with their business and want to build it the right way, right away. Mia and we talk about her journey from chaos to peace, clearing the clutter in her life and business, and then how to kiss your business. And with kiss, we're meaning keeping it super simple. How spending a little bit of time now to get ready for later means you will be ready for later now. And everything is a system, so why would your business be any different? Okay, without further ado, let's jump into this conversation with Mia Frankl. Welcome, Mia. I'm excited you're a guest on my podcast. How are you today?
Oh, Connie, I'm just, so thrilled to be here, and thank you for the opportunity. The last time we chatted, it was such beautiful conversation. So I'm, looking forward to just going deeper into it.
Yeah, that's what I love most about my podcast in a way. I meet all these amazing people, I have these great conversations. Often the pre-chat is already really amazing.
Right.
Yeah. So I do have an international audience. So I always ask first, where in the world are you located? And then also tell us one thing about you that is surprising or quirky or anything that has nothing to do with what we're talking about afterwards.
Fun. So I am on the west coast of Canada, to our listeners. So on Vancouver Island, which we like to call is just across the pond from the mainland, the continent of North America, but so near Vancouver, Canada. And one quirky, weird thing, I love collecting glasses, like glassware.
Mm-hmm.
So, and made of glass. I have a few plastic or ceramic pieces, but yeah, so none of my glasses really match, and I just like thrift store or sometimes as a restaurant as a souvenir or other places. I just like the shape, the feel, the weight, all of it. I like to collect glasses.
Oh, that's fun. You're the first one that collects glasses.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. So you and we're gonna geek out on clearing clutter in our minds and physical spaces and everywhere and anywhere. But you said to me, or I read it, I forgot, one or the other, you said that this is a process that cleanses us back to our original self. So what do you mean with that when we're clearing the clutter? And as my listeners know, with clutter, I mean so much more than just a physical space. And you say it cleanses us back to our original self. Very interested in that.
So I'm really tapping into the energy of source, of our origin, of when we came to life in the womb, and the simplicity of that. And so listeners, like, I've had a baby and I tried to be this minimalist mom, simplifying the experience. And because our basic needs are our true needs: love, shelter, food, comfort, these sorts of things, right? And so this is where we come from. And if you're not hanging out with people who are 90 years and older, start. Go and find them, because you will experience that same energy from them at the other end. And we're living in the middle of those two spectrums, attached to so many things, that we didn't need at the beginning and that we won't need at the end. So, just kind of remembering that. And it doesn't mean, go and get rid of everything or things like that. We can have joy, but it's, for me, it's a very descriptive and kind of visible way of describing what can otherwise feel daunting or obscure.
Mm. Okay, so when I understand you right, then it's similar to what I'm saying. Is I always say like clearing clutter is self-love, and it's self-love because we're making our life easier, we're reducing the stress around us and everything. So that's basic. I love it how you say that. That's really beautiful. And also like I'm reading a lot and listening a lot to Michael Singer, who is into spirituality, and he says as humans we actually don't really have needs in a way other than these bodily needs like air, of course, food and shelter, and anything beyond that is just a need because we're distracted and because we're not connected to source. And that reminds me when you say that it takes us back to our original self. That's what reminds this to now I can't speak English. that is what it reminds me of, right? So that we actually don't really need all this stuff. And this is what you're saying, like we come with nothing or very little. We need very little when we're little, and when we're older we need very little.
And like when there's less distraction, there's more clarity. And when there's more clarity, there's more authenticity. And then the things that you do have are far more intentional, be them physical things or emotional or thought processes, belief systems. So then you really get to know who you are in a basic state. And from there, you can build forward to that. Like, I don't know that my life will change dramatically when I am, making more money than I'm making now. I will just have a bit more freedom than I have now. And that has a great sense of peace to it for me. And that's like the decluttering and, the making a choice that is bigger than perhaps the instant gratification that you think you're getting in that moment. And so the same with the cluttering, like, Christmas is here now, and we're out, we're shopping, we're collecting things. In my home, we do advent calendars and we fill them with little, cute little things. It's not just a chocolate calendar. And so I'm trying to find things that are a bit more useful than just an item to be on one of the 25 J's type of thing, right? So finding new ways to connect with the energy around us and thinking, even just starting to think about it is a helpful way to, again, like remove that distraction, I love the word, the stickiness of what we've collected over time. And just coming back to truer self, deeper self.
Yeah, that's the word that I'm thinking constantly when you're talking deeper, because so many people complain that, oh, there's so much going on and I have no time for this and I have no time for that. And then they're just staying shallow with everything. But you do have some control to get rid of certain things and then can go deeper with the things that you intentionally keep, right? And like, again, we're not just talking about physical stuff, we're talking about thoughts, emotions, energy, social environment, right? And when we're going deeper, then in my eyes, time slows down and we don't feel that time just flies by us. It's almost like because you're going deeper, you're experiencing it more fully, and because of it, you're not thinking like your life is just flying by you.
Yeah, you've slowed things down. Yeah, so you're more present, like you're kind of more weighted in your body almost. And I have a teenager in the house, and phones are a big a big toy these days in generations younger than us, and losing the ability to kind of just sit still and be, and needing this constant stimulation, it distracts you from, like we've already said, like knowing yourself, but also from just the simplicity of being and being content with that. So you're kind of feeding the ego and the like the oxytocins of the adrenaline, to get a hit of like what we may perceive as happiness, or dopamine, like looking for that dopamine hit, right? Where you can create your own dopamine in simplicity and in reduction. And it's also, it is ironically instantly gratifying to get rid of stuff. Like it, in the physical sense, right? Clear up space, and like my brain constantly running as to how could I rearrange this room? How could I create more space? How could I make the living room more spacious than it is? And my husband and I talk about, because we've got 2 stories, just over 600 square foot each, and there's 4 people living there. So it can feel a bit tight, but it's always like, well, what can we get rid of? Or what can we reduce in size? Like we could have a smaller couch, we could have a smaller bookshelf, we could, make these things smaller to create more space in there. And I was, and I'm still recovering, because like these things don't have to come to an end. You just increase your awareness as you go. And so I was that woman who chock or blocked her calendar to the point where then I'd burn out and I'd be canceling or flaking out. Like I'm a recovering flake. Okay. And I'm still like tempted sometimes, but I've now restructured by making new choice, like you say, to align myself more so that I can enjoy, and I can kind of fully absorb some of, the lovely pleasures that are available, without giving up on my dreams, without giving up on my ambition, but not from a pressurized state at all. And that, again, the word peace, like that really dropped in, relaxed way of living is so wonderful. And I find it is complemented with the physical removal of things. You just, if only we could do that with weight loss. Let's take 10 pounds off and bring it to the donation bin. It'd be great.
Yes, yeah. No, but what I love about what you're saying is, yes, we can reduce, we can think, what else can we let go of? And at the same time, you're collecting glasses, right? So, and I always talk too, it's like, I don't have a minimalistic home. It's not about that, right? This would just be, in my eyes, the other extreme of the equation, right? When you're having then nothing. Or, well, not nothing, but I know I read about people who have under 100 items in total, and we don't want to get over 100 items. And I mean, if they have fun with that, then fine. But if that becomes your new rule, then that's probably not very healthy either. So you just said you were the one that overscheduled yourself and all that. I also read that you were over planning, overdoing and everything. And then one day you figured it out that it doesn't have to be that way. So take us through this process. What happened? Because so many people are in your boat and they always wish they could change. So something changed that or something happened that you changed, let's say like that.
So I want to be the voice of of a person who didn't experience like a big life event. Okay. I didn't have something that kind of forced me to make a hard decision. I think what happened was it was a slow percolating and coming to surrender to the giving up the idea that the so-called hustle was the way to achieve what I wanted. It wasn't. And I realize in hindsight that came from a scarcity mindset. where if I'm not going all the time, then I'm not going to get what I want and I'll never have the dream life that I want. And it's like, whoa, dude, you're missing the dream life that you have now because you're so obsessed with the scarcity of chasing the future, right? And so you create your future one day at a time. And somewhere we're still in 2023, somewhere in 2022, I just got this hit that to make my life work, I had to change the approach so that I could enjoy my life, like I just said, as I was continuing to create it. And a quote that may kind of help articulate this by Jim Rohn is to be ambitious and content in balance. Be ambitious and content, and that they don't have to exist without each other. It's not a one or the other. And now, like, I still get stressed out, I still overbook sometimes, because it's a continual practice. But to set the reality of my life is I have a full-time job, I have a 5-year-old, I have a stepdaughter, I have a healthy marriage, I have a healthy social life, and family relationships. I have a podcast, I have 2 Facebook groups, I have coaching programs. I I do a lot, and I still have a clean house and laundry is usually folded once a week and put away, and so these things have just kind of come into a flow around each other rather than being in competition. And it's like building a fitness level. So I love using the example of your first burpee to when you can do even 50 burpees, say. Little kind of it is realistic to do 50 burpees. It is.
Yeah.
Right?
I call it, like, when I have my clutter clearing clients, I always say, like, you have to exercise your decluttering muscle first. And it's with anything, like, we can't just like switch over a lever and all of a sudden we're perfect.
Yep.
And this is what I like about you too, when you say, well, I still get stressed out. Well, of course, I mean, you would be a very weird person.
Or like a monk.
And I think, I think it's more about, I think, and I'm on the same journey. Like, it's more about, are we aware of it, that we're becoming stressed out? And then how long does it take until we're getting back to where we were, or back to our intention? Maybe not to where we were before, because we want to make progress, but just back to our intention, how we want to handle it. And I love how you say, like, you have all these things in your life now, because I wanted, including your coaching programs, your Facebook group, you have a podcast too. And as you know, I have a podcast, otherwise you wouldn't be here. But a podcast is a lot of work. I mean, it kind of, like, a lot of work is always relative too, but I mean, it is work. It doesn't just rain from the sky. So talk us through this. Were you, when you were all stressed and everything, did you have all these things already, or did you even have less? Like, I know of people that had less and were stressed, and now have more and are less stressed. So I love it. I love it. I figured.
Yeah, absolutely, Connie. And it blows my mind because like, I find myself saying the kind of the ironic, like, make you want to gag thing of, I'm busier than ever and I'm more relaxed than ever, and it sounds so like, girl, please, like, what BS are you selling? Right?
Yeah.
But the energy is completely shifted. Again, that scarcity energy of chasing versus that balanced energy of being able to move the pieces intentionally and not without, like, a little bit of frenetic energy. I have a tendency to get hyper and move into that survival energy. But by letting go of control and moving into just flow, like, you guys, I'm Capricorn type A, like, oh my gosh, everything on a list. I make a list and the first thing on it is make a list so I can check it off, right? Like, that's my dopamine hit right there. But, like, from having gone to folding underwear and socks, which now just feels pointless. I just stuff them in the drawer. And that's crazy to me because I never, I wanted things so neat and tidy. But when I'm 98, it's really not going to matter. And
Yeah.
so a few little shifts to smooth out how things go have allowed me to hold more, to just hold more in it. And I had like very few clients. I was working as an online business manager, and while on mat leave and, just trying to really hammer things out. But it's a very busy job in that role, working right beside the CEO and helping them manage all the things. And so then I was stressed out because I had this external pressure too, and these other kinds of responsibilities and personalities to hold. And it's just like, how much longer can I sustain this? Like how much longer can I really do this? And then just by spending some time getting to know myself a bit more, and yeah, the irony of slow down to speed up is a real thing. It is a real thing, but it's now knowing my limits and pacing myself. I'm young, like I'm just 42 next month. I'm still very young. I have a lot of time and I want to enjoy that time and, just um, do do a lot of things, but not all at once. And so I think one of my sayings is there's time for everything, but not at the same time. And that's how you declutter. Time for everything, but not at the same time. Like, you're not putting your kid to bed while cooking supper while folding laundry, or like mucking stalls while cooking supper while walking the jog.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just like when people are in this craziness, or I often call it frenzy, they really can't see how slowing down helps you speed up. But it's the same like I think it's the Zen monks or some meditation gurus. They always say, like, if you feel like you have no time to meditate for 15 minutes, you need to meditate for an hour or something along that line. That saying goes. I probably butchered it completely.
Yeah. That's pretty spot on. Yeah.
Yeah. So now you touched on it already a bit. So you're now having a coaching practice next to your busy life you have otherwise already. And I know you help, and I read that on your website, you help others create a business with intention and ease. And you use a lot of the word KISS, which you say is keep it super simple. I use the word KISS too. I think originally it was keep it simple, stupid. And I thought that was silly. So I always said, keep it simple, sister. But
Yeah,
you
beautiful.
say keep it simple or keep it super simple. So that's awesome. So tell us a bit about the super simple intentional business.
So I'm a teacher and a healer, right? At the end of the day. So call it a coach, whatever label. But to me, it's a teacher and a healer. So that it's part of, caring for your heart and meeting somebody at that place for them. Because we're all different. We all kind of need our own little systems that are going to work for us. And the other part of it is running. So cliche. It sounds so cheesy. Like I could have written commercial jingles, I swear. But you run your business so that it doesn't run you. And I was getting run over by my business. So as a result of that, like I recreated, especially for the new female business owner, when you're brand new out there and the wolves are lurking, just ready to pounce and like get their clutches in you and say, you need this and you need this and you got to do that. All this noise coming at you. At the end of the day, all we're doing is gaining confidence in ourselves, which is the self-love and authenticity, right? Which is part of our greater healing journey. And the business is a great playground to practice that on, because it really tests your ego and your sense of worth, right? Because you make it so much about you. At least I did.
I think we all start out that way, yeah.
The others, right? So we want to come in and declutter and stay true to the vision in our heart. And what I've found based on the clients that I've worked with is business is really simple. You're creating something, then you're selling it, then you're serving or delivering on it, and then you're repeating.
Hmm.
And you're just doing these 4 steps. It's like a high intensity interval training boot camp, right? You're just doing these 4 steps over and over, and you want to intentionally get better at them. And when you can find your rhythm in that at the beginning, like that blank canvas, that new entrepreneur to me is just so delicious and so underserved, because a lot of online coaches are wanting certain revenue levels or promising, 10K days. Maybe you're not ready for that yet. You just want to get started. So we simplify all of the influences out there, and you create your own path. You start leading yourself from day one with intention. And, just like, there's no reason that you need to grow to a business to a point where you have like 50 team members. You can do it with a small team of maybe even 5, like, you don't have to become a global empire to have a high grossing business.
Yeah.
And it's all this line of decluttering, all of this, just start where you are and kind of keep it that way. So then you can expand from it without getting more complicated.
Yeah, that's what everybody thinks. They need a huge team, and that alone sounds overwhelming. I know of several solopreneurs who are up to 300,000 in revenue per year, and they don't even have a assistant because they have good systems. And you talk a lot about systems too, but I don't know how it is for you. But when I talk about systems and processes, people start rolling their eyes or.
Right?
And I read a funny sentence on your website. Everything is a system. Why should your business be any different? And it's so true, right?
Thank you.
But most people roll their eyes, especially the new ones, because they come out of their job and thinking, finally, I get rid of all these rules and systems and can just do whatever I want to do. But I always say, like, have you noticed that if you have the whole day in front of you, that you're actually not doing anything because you have no system and no structure in place? So tell us a little bit about your systems and your structures.
Okay, so remember, type A, high control.
Yeah, exactly. That's why.
We're sure on Capricorn, man. One of my girlfriends who's been in my life for 30 years and counting, she loves to tease me still from 30 years ago, where like, you do not deviate from the plan or Mia will lose her poop. Right? And there's elements of that are still true. But it's easy to do what needs to do if you know what to do. So not to word salad it, but if you're creating, we're going to go basics: create, sell, serve, repeat. So creating, where are you putting, what is your offer? What does it look like? Is it an orange? Is it French fries? Is it a pair of socks? And how do I buy it? Right? So in the online world, a landing page that's descriptive with a pay now button, and preferably some follow-on emails. That is a system. That is a very simple system that can be created if you sit down for a couple of hours and put it together. Now you have a very tangible product that you've also set up as an assistant, because it is sending extra emails after purchase to check in with that client, whatever the product is, whatever the arrangements are. So does that make life easier? Right? Does that make it more repetitive? Does that help you reach more people and you can sell more than one of them at once if you have this easy system in place? Then the selling is just having an idea around what you have to offer and clearly articulating it to the result that it provides, right? And that is your selling, your marketing system. The ins and outs of that, we could get lost for days, but that could be as simple as showing up on social media, speaking to that result and making the offer, or networking, or, the list goes on. But the core of it is telling people about it. Not really how, but the what. What are you telling? And then you can apply it in a variety of ways without overcomplicating it. Yeah. And then the serving of it, right? Is this a digital product that is delivered, or do they need to schedule one-on-one time? Is it an in-person? Is it a physical product that needs to be shipped to them? How are you going to get your business in a system to make that part of it easier for you? Right? And then we're repeating. How did that work? How did that flow? Where was there a glitch or a gap? Or, what do I want to add on? How did those emails work? And we go back and go through it again. I mean, Connie, when you get home from the grocery store, do you know where you're going to put your ice cream?
Yeah. I don't buy ice cream, but that's fine.
Well, okay. Fine. The one person. Your milk?
I don't drink milk either. You're lost with me, but I eat chocolate.
We have these things in place. I'm going to assume that most of us have an underwear drawer. I'm going to assume that most of us have a room with the bed. And modern plumbing, the bathroom is the bathroom for those needs, right? So we build these pillars in our business. How much easier is it going to be to log in and see these different areas for you to manage versus being on the hamster wheel of blending them, or not knowing what they are individually, not knowing how they're threaded together as a collective, that sort of thing.
I love it, really, Mia, because like you just said, a lot of coaches or even programs, they are much more sophisticated. They go like much crazier, and it's often too much for people that are just starting out, like you just said. And the other thing is also, a lot of people think really systems and structure are constraining them and putting them in a box, and they don't want to be so boxed in. But what they're not understanding is that this actually liberates you. This actually gives you more freedom. It gives you more time. It gives you makes your life easier. It's the other counterintuitive thing, like we just said, with the slowing down, you can speed up. The more you have these systems in place and you're working on it over time, that they become like, you use the word flow a lot, they just become automatic, right? The more it frees up your energy, your mental energy, your time and everything. It's yeah, so I love your version. You just say it different, but you basically say the same thing that I do.
Yeah, right. Which is why we get along so good.
Yeah, exactly. But also I love that you say it different, because some people need to hear it the way you say it, and other people need to hear it the way I say it, or some people may need to hear both of us until they're understanding it. And that has nothing to do with intelligence. It's just because it's often counterintuitive. It literally is. I also want to touch on something else, because I found something else on your website, the movement of collaborapreneur. I can't even pronounce it. Collaborapreneurs.
Perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the other thing is too, is like oftentimes, and when I started, and I age myself because I started in my business in 1998. Some people were not even born that are listening to my podcast. So yeah, it's a long time ago. And it was kind of lonely in a way, because we didn't have social media, we didn't have the internet. You couldn't just connect with people like this. But what I love about now is nobody really has to do that alone anymore. So tell me a little bit about your movement of collaborapreneurs.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, collaborapreneur. You're saying it perfect. So I made up the word, as far as I know.
Yeah, I think so too. I've never read it. I read all kinds of preneurs word, but not that one.
It's part laboratory, part collaboration, part bra for women, whether you like them or not. I love taking mine off at the end of the day, but it just plays into the feminine energy. And it has to do with creating support and creating abundance. It's operating in abundance. So one of my favorite quotes, and I can't reference it because it was just a very beautiful meme that I found on the internet, says, "You can't compete with me. I want us all to win." You can't compete with me. I want us all to win. And so in the collaborapreneur, the idea here is we're building our businesses for ourselves, but we're doing it together. You know, so Connie has people in her audience who are looking for me. I have people in my audience who are looking for Connie. And removing myself from the equation means demoting my ego and allowing the service to be the service and to help everybody get to where they're going by drawing resources together and by offering more than just me. I am not the KFC secret sauce, one and only possible way for someone to evolve and grow a successful business. I am one of many. And I am, you know, grounded in my worth and in my confidence and in my skills that I can share the stage. And I want to share the stage. And more so, I want to put others on that stage, because what is the point otherwise? Who am I as a healer and a teacher if I'm doing it all for me? Look at me, pick me, you know, it's ridiculous. And what I find too is it's such an incredibly different magic that comes out when we're co-creating, when we are exchanging with each other. It's very activating for me. I could not talk like this for an hour by myself. Right?
Yeah, no. Try doing a solo episode, talking to the computer screen.
Yeah, I need that other person to really help lead and engage and interact with. And so in the collaborapreneurship, that's what we're doing. And so I have an idea out right now, which is, it's just a landing page off my website, but it's the powerful directory where I'm inviting women to come in with like their photo, their bio, and a link to a freebie or a current offer that then we can all email out to our email lists and help pass each other around, just pass each other around the spaces and the intranet, so that it's not just me trying one of me to go to the masses. It's a bunch of us going to even like the small ponds that we have. So I'll hand it back to you, but I just want to take that deeper into a fable called Stone Soup. And in Stone Soup, a traveling person comes to town and is asking if they can do entertainment in exchange for food or shelter. And everybody is turning them down. And then they find a stone and get an idea and start asking the town if somebody has a large soup pot. Oh, I have one. Well, let me borrow it. What are you doing? I'm making soup. And so then they fill it with water and put the stone in. Now he's cooking and somebody comes over. What are you doing? Oh, I'm making soup, but it needs a little pepper. I have a little pepper, put it in. And everybody starts contributing the little bits that they have. And what do they end up with?
Yeah, beautiful soup.
Beautiful soup that they all eat, that they could not have produced on their own. Right. And so then, like you said, that community of having somebody brainstorm, troubleshoot, figure out, get creative inspiration with, and leverage each other, because Facebook, Instagram is noisy. So what I don't want to burden myself with the amount of so-called work it would take to be seen on top of everybody else out there. Right. So I want to find other ways to get myself around, to get myself visible, that isn't all on my shoulders. And if I'm doing that, who else wants to play along, man? Why can't we do it together?
Yeah, I love it. And you know, I do believe truly that this is where the world is heading. So I'm very much into astrology, and when you know a little bit about astrology, and I think you don't even need to know about astrology. There's so much talk out there how we are at the brink of transitioning into a different world. It has a lot to do, or you can explain it why with astrology. And I do believe we're coming away from this hierarchy, and one is on the top, it is the guru or the heroine or the hero or whatever, and we're all looking up and doing what they're saying. We're coming to, everybody is at the same level. And what you just were describing with this stone soup, which reminds me, I heard this story once before, a long time ago, because when you said stone soup, I thought, I heard about that stone soup, but I don't remember the story anymore. And so I totally believe we're getting there. And I love that you created this word and that you created this community, because again, we don't need to do it alone, and we don't have to be competition. And we're so much better off. The whole world would be so much better off. We probably wouldn't have people starving and people without shelter if we would just stop doing the competition stuff. Yeah.
And I mean, as a business owner and as a new business owner, it is lonely and scary. So you are vulnerable and insecure at the beginning. And so where better to be than with others who will celebrate with you and who will help you create what's on your heart and help bring clarity to you, so that you're working on your business with others, and it doesn't cost, right? So right now, my Facebook group, I'm blowing it open for 2024. Like, let's everybody just get in here, because it's the behind the scenes. You can take your guard down. You can, pardon me, but I'm like immature sometimes. You can fart in the collaboratory. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be polished. It's safe space to breathe and to like talk about what's really going on versus the show that we sometimes see on Facebook. And that's the healing piece, where it just, again, declutters and brings ease to the whole journey, and can help you drop in, can help you relax and build that safety and confidence the result.
Yeah. And since we're at that topic, so talk a little bit. How can people find this Facebook group? How can people find your website? Where should they go if they wanted to be part of this collaborapreneur movement?
Yeah. So on Facebook, it's Powerful Inc. So POWHERFULLINC, or Mia Frankl, but like the URL is Powerful Inc. And the Facebook group is facebook.com/powerful startups. So I left the URL on an earlier rendition of it, and it should be a public group now. So you can search for that, or just come find me on Facebook, Mia Frankl, and
or look in the show notes. I will for sure put the
show
links
notes
in the show notes.
Yeah. And come on in, because a lot of these women I met as a result of my podcast, and it created this environment for us to do exactly what I've talked about. And like, what's fun for me, we have coffee, I give homework, I give, journaling, I come up with little challenges. So we're in there to work, we're in there to be accountable, and we're in there to have fun, like I like to do like dancing, coffee. I usually start with a song. So we do like a little shake your booty before we get chatting away, and just connect, and really genuine and heartfelt. And, I'm a little protective over it, but the world needs it, and we all need to be in there. So it's no longer mine. It belongs to all of us.
Yeah. You let it loose.
Let it loose, baby. Let it loose.
This is really beautiful. I could talk with you forever, but we want to be a bit mindful of your time, my time, the audience's time. So before we wrap up, did you want to say any last words, or did I not ask something that you really feel like from your heart that has to come out, or
Conny,
any last words?
It's such a beautiful conversation. And I love how aligned we are. And it's a great opportunity to just remind people of, their finding their true purpose and allowing themselves to pursue it, and knowing that they don't have to do it alone, because we want to engage with each other. We want to be there and to witness that. It's a beautiful thing when you see somebody start to really shine and gain that momentum. So, if you're feeling isolated, well, sister, it's because you chose that.
Yeah.
So knock it off. You don't have to be a hero.
I love it. Show them some tough love. So thanks so much for your time, Mia, and for your wisdom and the last word. So my audience, if you want to be in there, get your butt in.
Get your butt in there. Doors open. Love it.
Thanks so much, Mia.
Thank you.